All right, y'all. What's going on? It is your boy Easy Bake Oven. What's up, y'all? So today it's a little different. All right. Now, yeah, I used to hear ads run through my stuff for other people. All right. This is probably the first real time the ad is for me. All right. So PSA, Prodigy Sport Advantage Stations, has expanded far beyond just the podcast. It is now a writing service. All right. And at that, a ghostwriting service. So we do it anonymously and take care of your needs. All right. Homework assistant, product and profile descriptions, grant writing, resumes, cover letters, templates, books, ghostwriter book too. Anything you can think of, articles, all that good stuff. PSA the Ghostwriter Solution can do it. So go over to psathepodcast.com and you can see all the services there with all their descriptions. Okay, because I know I missed some. And also you can reach out to me at theprodigyperspective@gmail.com and we can take care of all of that for you too. Peace. And like that, we are back for another one, another hot fire episode. Got the beard cut low. I've been liking it cut low lately. Let's see how long I keep it like this. I'm gonna grow it back out. I think I'm gonna keep it low like this to my birthday, and which is in a few weeks. If you want to give me something, Cash App, PSA the brand, or you could Zelle me the prodigy perspective at gmail.com. Also, that's at the beginning of the episode, in the ads. If we reaching out for like work and stuff, they use that email too. You can sell me there. But yeah, everything's good. Everything is copacetic on today. It's a beautiful day. Well, it's beautiful. It's just extremely hot. And it is summertime. Summer is here. Okay. Nobody told you. I'm here to tell you. Summer is here. And it ain't playing no games. Now, we see a lot on Justin LeBoy's page and many other of these like Instagram meme pages that's talking about, everybody's getting big or already big. And, they may want to, how the kids say it, unbig their backs, right? Because it's like, maybe it's too late to unbig my back. Even if you missed the summer rush, you still got the rest of the year. So don't think, oh, I missed the summer. I'll try again next summer. No. You can start today. All right. So let's get into today's meme. Today's meme reads, a lot of protein and a whole lot of fast may be the quick cure to unbig your back for summer. Because we just in the middle of the summer. We just in the heat, smack dab heat of the summer. You still got some time. Inspiration for this week's episode comes from a few different things. So it comes from my guest and his brand, which we're going to get into that today. And it also comes from, obviously, I kind of mentioned already, these Justin LeBoy pages and these other meme pages and the new term, unbig your back. And it's just crazy to me, like, the meme I read, it said, eat water, and unbig your back. It was like, we got 30 days left to the summertime. So I don't want you going through any extreme measures. And so this episode kind of serves as the, the healthy medium for that. And it may not be when you want it, but you'll get it. And typically I go for one decision or try to aim towards making one decision. But in this episode, you actually will get two decisions. All right. So let's get into that as we go along. So before we get into that, let's move into happy hour. Now, I just got to say something before we get into too much in today's episode. Like, when I look back at the history of people, we see how music has taken over, right? We see that with, songs that have uplifted us and songs that are just catchy. We see people like St. Louis finest Sexy Red with lyrics like I'm out of town, thugging rim rounds, my P-word pink and her booty hole brown. We also have to realize that she wasn't the first person to do things like that. When I look back at me being 29 now, and I reminisce on like sixth grade, and I remember in gym class, girls was rapping Trina's Look Back at It word for word. So for those if you listen, you probably know what that song is, and you probably know the lyrics. But in case you don't, I'm about to read them to you. And you tell me how this sounds. Let's read them. I got an ass so big like the sun. Hope you got a mouth for a I want to run. Slap it in my face and shove it down my throat. Something is your blunt. I can make this smoke. I know how to FUCK. I know how to ride. I can spin around with it still inside. And now your mouth is wide. You looking scared. I'm a man eater, headhunter. I'm prepared. Now, when that song was being sung word for word, these girls was 11 and 12 years old. And it's only getting worse. And when that was done, that was 06. And now this is 2023. And the lyrics I just read before. We got to do something with this music. We got to do something. Don't get it twisted. It's a lot of good people with a lot of good messages. But some of these songs, it's just getting outrageous. And at this point, I don't even know what to do. It's wild that that's really, she ain't the worst one. But it's just wild that this is what's really been happening. And it goes to show you how much of an influence music has when we look at, the rappers, and we look at, and not just the rappers, because it's a lot of people too, and just media in general. And they paint these images of this whore lifestyle or this thug lifestyle. I think of John Morant and the whole gun situation. What is up with this generation wanting to play with guns? I don't get it. I've never met so many people who want to be gangsters and thugs so bad. What is in the water? Well, it ain't what's in the water, is what's on the TV. It's what's in this music. I keep telling y'all, there's something behind that. Music is very, very, very influential. These videos are very influential. So if for you to get caught with a gun, and some of y'all, I knew how y'all grew up. That's not you. And that's okay. You are not less of a man because you're not out here shooting people or taking pictures with guns, especially in his case when you're a whole athlete. Just something to keep in mind as we get along for the day. And it's just something I had to get off my chest because I'm tired of seeing that. And somebody got to sound the alarm. So it'll be me. You may take heed to it. You may agree. You may think I'm doing too much. You may think I'm preaching. I don't know. But we got to do better. Okay, so before I get too deep into today's episode, and I have to give y'all these strategies on how to unbig your back. I have unbigged my back somewhat, and it's going down some more weekly. So that's good news. So I have a guest today. So let me go ahead and introduce him. What is going on?
Hey, how's it going, man? That was a very interesting intro. You're covering some interesting topics.
I tell you, I just had to speak on that because I'm tired of seeing it. And it's only going to get worse. And it's funny that we're talking about music because I didn't plan this, y'all. I promise I didn't. And he's in the studio. Ain't that crazy? But for my visual people, can you tell the people your name, where you from, and where do you live now?
My name's Eli Halpern. I live in Austin, Texas, and I'm in a music studio at my house.
Okay, so in the music studio, so obviously he's in the music. So tell us, before we get into that, tell us more about what you do currently as far as like your occupation.
My main thing is the CEO and founder of Golden Cricket, which makes protein bars and protein powders out of actual crickets, because crickets are 65% protein by weight. They contain all 9 essential amino acids. They use 2,000 times less water to produce than whey protein, and it's okay to kill them because they're just crickets.
See, this is going to be a good episode. I like dry off a sense of humor. Okay, so now, next question. So with the studio, you're in the studio now. We know you have the crickets. We know you have that. So are you a musician of some kind? Are you a producer? Are you both? Tell us that.
Dude, I'm a lot of things. I started planning for financial success at a young age, so I've had a lot of time to delve into my passions. So good. I'm amongst a lot of things. I guess I'm a martial artist. I play drums, guitar, some bass. I'm a rapper. I'm a producer. Stand-up comedian. I do a lot of things. I just try to get the most out of life as I can.
And we love to see that. And we love to see that because I cannot stand how society tries to make it like, they're starting to expand it now, but pushing it to where we can do more than one thing. And so, you know what I'm saying? And you do so many different things. And I'm actually jealous of people that can play instruments because I used to be in piano and I wish I would have stayed because that's a nice skill to have. But obviously, I didn't keep doing it. So, before we get to my other questions, I just have to ask, you made the statement earlier. You said some of my topics were interesting, and then you also just said that you are a rapper. So with hearing the lyrics that I read and hearing how in seeing and just in general, you can see it on media, you see the media, you can see it on Instagram, social media, all kinds, seeing how influential music can be to people. What is the goal of the type of music you create?
The goal of my rap music is to make people laugh. It's really to make me laugh. And if other people laugh at it too, then that's cool. But I really just make it so I can bump around in my car because I got a great taste. I got a great ear for music. And that's indisputable. If you listen to my beats, they're fire ass beats. But my raps are pretty ridiculous. So I'm not going to say I'm a good rapper or anything, but I have a lot of fun doing it.
So with that, with the ear for music, because typically people who can play a lot of different instruments, and do you listen to different types of music as well?
Yeah.
So okay, so that right there solidifies you got a good ear for me. So you have a good ear for music. What is your take on music today with lyrics like I read and just and that I just stated? What is your take on like stuff like that?
Well, unfortunately, it goes pretty deep. I mean, it reminds me of how NWA was like controlled opposition, and they were like, we need more raps about guns and drugs and violence, and then it goes back to like racism. And by racism, I don't mean like people making jokes to each other, but I mean like government institutional racism where they're like, we want to put black people and Mexicans in prison and then profit off the private prison industry. So there's like a correlation between the music industry and the prison industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been established for like decades.
For sure. Absolutely. And it's unfortunate that I'm gonna say this and then we're gonna move on, but it's unfortunate that people are falling for the same, like it's like history repeats itself. And you hate to be cheesy, but it's the truth. It's like if people who don't know history, they're doomed to repeat it. So all right. So now you've been self-employed since you were 12. Can you share some of your early entrepreneur endeavors and how they shaped your approach to creating golden cricket?
I used to sell candy out of my locker. I did all the lemonade stand stuff. But I think the biggest thing is I started selling on eBay when I was like 12. As soon as I found out eBay existed, I was like, whoa, people are making money just selling stuff. So I just started selling stuff around my house.
Did you get in trouble for selling stuff around your house?
I got in trouble for certain things linked to that. Like, I don't remember exactly, but I think I sold something that belonged to my dad, and he was like, where did this go? Which is funny because a lot of kids, like, you hear a lot of kids, like, they'll sell their parents, their family stuff for, like, drug money, and they had a problem or something. I was just trying to run a business. I didn't have any addictions or expenditures. I was 12.
But see, with that, I'll get to go to a middle school, and it was, we had a drug dealer at the school. But with that, it's funny because when you said, I just knew when you said, oh, I used to sell stuff around my house. I'm like, what of your family did you sell? I just knew it. That's why I'm like, I wanted you to say it, but I'm like, let me bring it out because I know you sold something that you wasn't supposed to. But we love it because that's a good part of your story. You know what I'm saying? When you get on and big and rich and famous and you tell everybody your story, like you will laugh at it then. You didn't laugh at it when you were 12. I mean, you probably laughed, they didn't. But it's like I made money and like you good with money. So were you always good with money, or were you just always like you just always had like a hustle mentality?
I was always good with money. I always had a hustle mentality. I would sometimes if my parents gave me money for food, I just wouldn't eat and I would just save the money. Because at a young age, I realized that this whole system is like a scam and humanity is like basically a pyramid scheme. And if I don't have my own money, then I'm gonna have to be a slave to someone else forever. Whether it's listening to my parents or like working for a boss or working for a job or something, I really like I don't like being told what to do. I like doing whatever I want. And I realized I could do that if I just had money. So that was always like my main goal. Is like all I cared about was making money. And that's not how I feel anymore. I think life should be lived in phases. And I went through that phase where all I cared about was money. And then once I had enough money, now I care about my passions and health. And I mean, that is to say that I did sacrifice my health and passions to focus on money. And I think any intelligent person would say you should never sacrifice your health, but also sometimes you might have to, just in the short term. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's up to you in your personal life. If you're like, because sleep is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And there's been times where I've only slept like 3 or 4 hours, and realistically, I should just go back to sleep and get more sleep. But I'm gonna go out and get stuff done sometimes. But lately, I've switched that around to where if I wake up and it's like 8 a.m. and I only slept 3 or 4 hours, I'll be like, I don't care what's going on today. I'm gonna go back to sleep, and because I train a lot, I do a lot of martial arts and heavy lifting and stuff. So if I'm not sleeping, my body's gonna break itself down.
Absolutely. And I love that, because again, you kind of go against the grain of society, because society will preach, sleep when you're dead and all that stuff, but you'll die a lot sooner if you don't get the sleep you're supposed to. And I think it's funny because I'm the type of person where I feel like life, like you said, it's really like a balance, and you have to have the lows and the highs, and you have to have the ebbs and the flows, and you have to have sleep. But then it is times where you're like, okay, maybe these days out the week, I'm gonna wake up at 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock, or whatever. And then some days, no, I'm gonna sleep till 9. And you just have to have that balance. And especially if you do have goals, because in the long term, especially body goals, if you're trying to lose weight, maintain weight, gain weight, whatever, you have to get sleep. And if not, it's just not going to be effective. And then even then, your thinking is not going to be the best. And you think it is, but your brain is not in the highest function when you don't get as much sleep and as much rest as you need. And we had an episode about that last season. Now,
I think something really important for that too is not setting an alarm clock, but setting an alarm for when you should go to sleep, setting a bedtime. Go to sleep the same time. Make sure you're in bed by a certain time. And then your body will take its toll to where you don't need an alarm clock in the morning. But I think that's way more important to get to bed early than it is to wake up early.
Absolutely. And it's funny because we had a sleep expert last season, and that's exactly what she said. So good. I like to see stuff from last season bleed into this one. So we talked about rest. We talked about you saving, selling your family's precious diamonds on eBay when you were 12. So now, you're good at raising money. You're good at selling. You raised an impressive $150K for your business, Golden Cricket, in the first 7 months. Can you talk us through the process of securing that funding and any tips you might have for any other entrepreneurs?
Well, really, I wasn't out looking for funding. I was just out promoting my company, telling everyone about it, being myself, doing my thing, which includes, so I do martial arts a couple hours a day. And I'm out doing stand-up comedy. I know a lot of people out here. A lot of people see what I'm doing. I get a lot of positive affirmations from those in my community commending my success and upward trajectories. And a lot of people say they enjoy watching me do my thing. So I think that has a lot to do with it, because I basically met someone who offered me the money. And I turned it down at first because I was like, I don't even know what I do with $100 grand. And so I got $100 grand from an investor and then 50 grand from a loan. And the 100 grand from the investor, I was like, I appreciate it, but like, let me make a plan. And so I created a new product, which is the horchata protein powder, which had an increase of like 15% margins than the protein bars that I've been doing. And basically built out a whole business plan around what I was going to do with that money, and then presented it to him. And I was like, all right, I'll take your money now.
With that though, you said like how it happened was kind of like a blessing in a sense. And it also shows that, and you tell me if I'm wrong, like when you're out doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you felt was right, what you felt called to do and led to do. And it ultimately tells people that your time will come, but you have to put the work out there, because that was nothing that you could have did on your own. Like you even said that you like, no, you told them no at first because you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. So it's good to see that, and it's good, more affirmations for people to see. You have to put yourself out there. And so many people are scared to do that out of fear that if it may not work, or it may fail, or that it'll, they'll look stupid. But even if you do look stupid, you rather look stupid now. You rather look stupid now than look stupid later. Because a lot of times people don't, they just let people get in their heads and tell them what wouldn't work. And then they tell them which they shouldn't do. So even with that, and that's another good question. In the process of you coming up with this, golden cricket, nobody would ever think to do crickets. I know I would never think of that. I know if I would hear somebody doing it, I might be like, but then my logic also is I don't know what God told you. So even with that, did you have anybody in your life as you was getting this business together that was kind of like, what are you doing?
It's hard to remember the formative like couple weeks of it when it hit me. I mean, I surround myself with a lot of very supportive and positive individuals. So if someone has negativity to bring my way and say that really anything I'm doing is stupid or wrong or bad, like I just, they're cut off. I don't need that shit in my life. Because like in reality, like everything is an opinion or a perspective. There is no like, this is right, this is wrong. So I just operate out of believing that I'm doing the right thing. I do what I feel is right. And that attracts other people who think the same way and also think that I'm right. And then we're just all right together. And that's the most powerful thing that's ever existed, is a group of like-minded individuals that have the same mindset. So I'm pretty lucky to have what a lot of people don't have, which is a supportive community. And that gives me the confidence to do a lot of crazy shit, like bug bars and dropping like 3 rap albums. Like I only have the confidence to do that because I got friends who are talented musicians who are like, yo, this shit's dope. And if I didn't have that, I mean, I didn't have that for years. I didn't have that for, there's times where, like before I moved to Austin, lived in LA and stuff, didn't have many friends because just how the city's built out and stuff. It's hard to have like nobody has like friend groups out there. You got like one friend here, one friend there, and I wasn't doing too much. I was doing some stuff, but now I'm like all over the place. I'm just doing everything.
Right. Good. We love to see that. I like to see that. And again, it's good. Another message, another gem about you being at that phase, because I'm at that phase in my life right now, finding like-minded individuals and just kind of seeing like a lot of people that I've been around for years. I always say they may not have to be gone permanently, but for a season, I have to get away from them because we're not on the same page. We're not aligned. And I can't be around people who are always asking or saying comments like, oh, you should go back to talking to that girl, or you and her you should get back to talking to her. When you gonna have kids? When you gonna get married? And it's like, why don't you never ask about my writing service? Why don't you ever ask about my podcast? Like, why you only, it's like it only has to be like this. And don't get it twisted, those things will come. But if you see me all in this, I can't date nobody that ain't all in, all in my stuff with me. And I'm all into theirs. So, and even with that, sometimes people date the wrong people because they can't be by themselves. And they dating people who don't believe in their vision, or y'all never talk about your goals because y'all so in love. And then it's like, what we doing? We just dating, but we're not advancing in none of our businesses. Now your business is on hold. Your goals are on hold. Then you get out the relationship and realize you spent 3 years putting yourself and your stuff on hold, trying to live up to society.
Yeah, and no matter how your mindset is around negative opinions around you, you cannot change the fact that it resonates in your brain. Literally, if people are saying shit to you, you have to hear it. You can't close your ear holes. It will affect you some way or another, regardless of how strong you are. I mean, ideally, the goal is to be resilient enough where you can be like, fuck that shit, and then snap back to normal. But even that is like, that's a waste of energy. I don't even want to say fuck that shit. I don't want to hear it.
Bingo. And I've tried to explain it to somebody before and they act like
And
I was speaking.
The only hate I get in my life is from random people on the internet, like internet strangers. And it's like, okay, well, I could just not read the comments, but like you gotta risk that when you're putting yourself out there. And that's fine. Honestly, that's a good thing. I started getting a bunch of people talking shit on my reels lately, and I was like, oh, I'm getting somewhere. Like I'm finally getting some haters. Like I'm so used to people supporting me. It's like, yo, who am I supposed to prove wrong at this point? But now it's like, oh, they're coming in and I'm gonna prove you all wrong. It's like, it's fun for me.
See, I get mine on YouTube, and YouTube is a dangerous place. They'll come out of nowhere talking about this is stupid. That doesn't make sense. You're dumb. I'm like, okay. I was like, and then if you really like be either you don't respond, or if you do respond, say something nice, like thank you. Like they said the worst thing to you, thanks.
Like, yeah. What I've started doing is I try to, if they're talking shit to me, I'll like agree with them or make a joke back, and then they'll follow me after that. They'll be like, oh, he's actually cool.
Exactly.
So being able to like flip it on your haters and then make them a fan is, I wouldn't say like a fan really, but like a follower, subscriber. Like it's cool. It's a good skill to have, and good. It's something to think about if you're in that space.
We're not even 30 minutes in, and we already got a bunch of gems. All right, now I'm going to ask you 3 words. There are no right or wrong answers. And I want you to tell me 4 words, excuse me, the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready? All right, discipline.
Doing shit you have to do regardless of how you feel.
When you hear the word unbig.
I had to look that up when you said that at first. I don't know, man. Popcorn.
When you hear the word summer.
Hot.
When you hear the word fast.
I should be going more in depth here. Fast. You know, a lot of people say life is fast. And they say life is short. I don't agree. I think life is long, and it takes as long as it's supposed to. Like when I look back and I'm like, have I really lived 30 years? I'm like, yeah, totally. This feels like I've been alive for 30 years. But actually, it feels like 50. I feel like I should be 50 years old. I've done a lot of shit.
That's good. I mean, it means you're living. All right. So now the definition of discipline from dictionary.com, the ability to adhere to a set of rules, principles, or routines in order to achieve desired goals or outcomes. It involves self-control, consistency, and determination to stick to a specific course of actions, even when faced with obstacles, distractions, or temptations. Unbig, I made that definition up to not make big. And then summer, the warmest a season of the year in the northern hemisphere from June to August, and in the southern hemisphere from December to February. And then to fast generally is the act of abstaining from food or drink for a specific period of time, often for religious, spiritual, or health reasons. All right. Okay, good stuff. All right, so now let's move into the next segment, and that is, what does this have to do with mental health? And for those that don't know, this is the segment for my haters that used to be like, what does this have to do with mental health? Created a whole segment about it. All right, so now, entrepreneurship, music, comedy, and martial arts are all avenues that can have significant impacts on your mental health. So how can these diverse elements of your life how have they influenced your overall mental well-being? And what strategies have you developed to maintain them?
Martial arts has been fundamental in maintaining my mental health. I used to lift weights, and that just really didn't cut it. Just waking up every day and fighting people it's intense. And It's scary. It's exhilarating. It requires intense focus and commitment to all aspects of your being. Hydration, diet, sleep. It gets, especially as a man, I think every man has like we have testosterone. So we have this fire in us that wants to conquer and kill. And we live in a society, so we can't do that because that's not good. But if we're simulating murder in a padded room, which is what martial arts is essentially, it gets all those demons out, and I just feel so peaceful every day after I train. I just feel fine. Like every morning I wake up. I don't think a lot of people knows about me, but I guess nobody knows anything about me because your listeners have no idea who I am. But I'm always doing shit. Like I'm always busy. I'm always making things happen. I'm always chasing my goals and stuff. But the thing is, every morning I wake up and I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to do this. But I get up anyways. And it's not until I leave the gym that I'm like, all right, here we go today. So if I didn't have that, well, there's been times where I've been injured and stuff and I wasn't able to train. And it's been difficult. I'm just antsy and uptight, but once I get those calories burning and that strength output, I just everything falls into place, and it gets me into the mindset that I need to be in to make the rest of the day happen. So when I wake up, I'm not even worried about what I have to do that day, unless I got like I didn't train today because we had this podcast, and I got home at like 3 a.m. and I needed to sleep. But when I wake up, I'm just like, all right, let's go train. And then after I train, I'm like, all right, now what do we got to do today? So I'm completely sober now. I used to do a lot of drugs. I wouldn't say I had like an addiction where I was losing my mind and people were worried about me and stuff, but it was more of an escapist mindset. I was addicted to running from myself, and in focusing on my martial arts and creative endeavors, it gives me the opportunity to really create who I want to be in a manner where I don't want to run from myself.
Okay, maybe I'm looking at it kind of like you went from running from yourself to now fighting the bad parts of yourself or fighting off things, whether it's any, escapism or any mental health issues or any procrastination, any laziness, anything that's not having you aligned to where you're supposed to be, anything that doesn't align with your disciplines. You're like fighting that off on a regular basis, physically, and then even mentally. You know what I'm saying? Because martial arts, I did Taekwondo 100 years ago. But when I did do it, I remember it was a lot of discipline. It was a lot of mind as well. So I get that whole aspect, and especially with you doing it every day or pretty much every day, it's a lot, and it can take a toll on you too. So it's good that you have that. You're aware, you're self-aware, and a lot of people aren't self-aware. You're 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 29. So we the same age. And a lot of people, that was one of the reasons I started this podcast. A lot of people at our age, they just like, they're okay with who they are. And there's no okay with being okay with who you are, but you have to elevate and know what's right and what's not. And a lot of people are like, this is just me. My grandma's 88. It's okay for her to be like that. We too young for that. And there's so many people like that, and that really just irks me. So I'm glad that you are very self-aware of everything that you're doing, and you beating people up, and enjoying it, putting people in headlocks. Now, what type of martial arts is it?
I just had a Muay Thai fight up in Houston, and I won that a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
I do MMA. I do jiu-jitsu. I'm focusing more on jiu-jitsu right now because I've been doing that for a while and have progressed the least because it's so much more fun to just punch people in the face than do the jiu-jitsu techniques. But jiu-jitsu is a lot of fun when you're actually like rolling.
Okay. All right.
If for the listeners, the difference is Muay Thai is like punching, kicking, knees, elbows. Jiu-jitsu is like choking, breaking arms, legs, tendons, ligaments. It's like the opposite of being a surgeon.
I don't know. When I think of jiu-jitsu, I instantly think of like Naruto, and I think of like throwing shurikens at people and running with your hands behind your back. But
no, it's because it sounds like it would be Japanese, but jiu-jitsu is Portuguese.
Oh wow! See, we getting a lesson today, y'all. See, all right, good stuff. I got to put that in the episode bio. So now, nutrition plays a crucial role in our mental health. So how do you see the consumption of your cricket-based protein influencing mental health, especially those who may deal with, anxiety, depression, escapism, even?
Well, we could get pretty deep on this. So I'm going to say some interesting facts about crickets that are a stretch from just the health benefits. The health benefits are there. That's scientific data. What I'm about to say now is me just being creative. So when you're eating meat, most people say that's the best quality protein. It's because they don't know about crickets yet. But there's something about, as a man, devouring the flesh of another animal that like gives you strength, which is kind of fucked up and weird, but that it is what it is. But with crickets, you're eating like a bunch of them, so you're getting more souls per bite. So that's interesting. Also, there's less net death. Like, you're killing more animals by farming agriculture than you are farming crickets. And so we're actually getting a large influx of vegan and vegetarian customers who are switching over. Crickets are an animal. Insects are animals. So it's not vegan. It's not vegetarian. But that means Golden Cricket is single-handedly putting an end to veganism.
I was going to say you the exception. They said, well, I'm vegan, but if that cricket come around, I'm going to eat that.
Yeah, it's because if you're eating plants, in the process to harvest those plants, everything in that field's got to die. Not to mention the pesticides. You got to use pesticides. There's no way you can grow plants without it in a mass quantity like that. And there's obviously going to be no pesticides in crickets because that would kill the crickets.
Right. So,
and it's a natural prebiotic as well, so there's not bloating. And,
okay, good to know.
And plant protein does not taste good. It's low in vitamins and nutrients. It has to be added in if there are any, and that's often from a synthetic source. Whereas crickets are high in calcium, magnesium, zinc, iron, potassium, omega-3, omega-6, vitamin B12, and those are all natural sources of this.
Okay. Now, we're going to get more back. We're going to come back. We're going to spin the block on the cricket in a minute. Now, summer is here, y'all. I got to look in the camera for this. Summer is here. Everybody's back is big and outlandish. And y'all let these internet people clown y'all. Y'all laugh and repost it, but then go back to doing what you was doing. Something has to change. Even with me, at one point when I was doing the weight loss stuff, which I'm back on it now, because I was I gained weight. Nobody knew this. So I had gained weight. Got back up to 250 in like March. And then I weighed myself today. I'm like 235. So I got 20 more pounds to lose. So I'm 15 pounds down. So that's good. And with me, it was one point of this cycle I'm doing now. It was 2 to 3 weeks in a row. It was the exact same weight. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's clearly something you're doing is not working. Because it'd be different if like the weight was like 233.2. then 1 week was 232.5. It was the literal same every week. So that's okay. I'm not doing something right. We got to switch it up. And what I've learned living a low carb lifestyle is the importance, not keto, but a low carb lifestyle is the importance of protein. That's why I was so interested when you reached out and you talking about how high this is in protein. Most people miss that key component. And this is a key component, y'all, for weight loss, weight gain, or weight maintenance. So here's some statistics. It says, so according to Protein and Mental Health, it says protein is crucial for mental health as the amino acids that make up protein serve as building blocks for neurotransmitters, including serotonin. That's good news. And also, I think about the lady on Instagram. Her name is Surviving Vegan. And she was talking about why a lot of people who switch over to veganism fail because they don't replace the protein that they got from meat with, like you were stating, the plant-based proteins and things. But in the same breath, the key thing there again is protein. Why they lose muscle mass, they'll switch over and then all of a sudden they go from a big strong person and then they go to veganism and now they a stick because they stop getting the protein and they think, oh, I don't need protein, I'm gonna just get it from beans or plants like you said. But in the same breath, it's other ways to go about it. So I like what you're bringing up so far. Also, according to Protein and Mental Health, it says tyrosine, an amino acid found in protein, acts as a precursor to dopamine and neurotransmitters involved in motivation and pleasure. Keep that in mind. And then another Protein and Mental Health from Fernstrom, this is another author, suggests that another amino acid derived from protein indirectly supports dopamine production and contributes to the synthesis of other neurotransmitters. An inadequate protein intake may lead to lower level of neurotransmitters, potentially impacting mood, stress, and levels of overall mental health. So, not just your body, y'all. There are reasons why you may, not saying this is going to be the savior to your mental health or mental illness struggles, mental health struggles, but this definitely is one of the reasons why your moods may be how they are, because a lot of stuff y'all fail to realize of your stuff, the food affects your body. Your body is speaking to you on a regular basis, even if you don't realize it. So when you aren't getting the proper nutrients, it's going to tell you that in some way, shape, or form. And it's not always physical. Sometimes it is mental. And then the last one, it says that according to Protein and Weight Management by Lady, protein is more satisfying than carbohydrates or fats, resulting in increased feelings of fullness and reduced in calorie take, thus aiding in weight loss. So where you are now, obviously golden cricket, but I'm sure that's not the only thing you eat. So do you prioritize protein in your current diet, and have you seen positive effects of it in your personal life?
Absolutely. Protein is the most important thing in my diet. I had an interesting thought recently, like within the last week, and I've been doing golden cricket for like a year. So it's interesting. It's interesting it took me this long to think of this, but there's a lot of discrepancies in terms of what is the proper human diet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, why not consult our closest living ancestors, the chimpanzees? So I looked at the chimpanzee diet, and they also eat insects. So they mostly eat fruit. Like 49% of their diet is fruit, which someone told me last night that Steve Jobs did that and he died. So I don't think that's a good idea. But I was just looking at the breakdown of their whole diet. Obviously, the ratio's got to be tweaked. Something interesting that stuck out to me was only the adult males eat meat. So your gender, your age, probably even your geographical location have something to do with your diet. So there is no one size fits all. I think that's interesting. But chimps are also known to eat eggs and even milk occasionally of other animals. So protein has the least amount of calories.
True.
In terms of there's 3 macronutrients, right? It's fat, protein, and carbs. And then everything's like a breakdown of that. And protein has the least amount of calories. Now, if you don't know what a calorie is, what a calorie means in science is the amount of a substance required to if you light it on fire, it needs to be able to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius, which means that anything flammable has calories. So calories are not super important, like counting calories. You know, if you eat a bunch of wood chips, that's going to be a caloric intake, but that's not going to give you nutrients, and there's not much protein in that. Do you see what I'm getting at? Like, I'm trying to cover a few different topics here and bring them together.
Yeah.
But basically, protein is the building blocks of life. You need carbs to process protein, and you need fat as well. But the more protein you eat, the less carbs and fat you're going to crave. And then carbs turn to sugar, so you want to lower your carb intake. So I just try to eat as much meat as possible, and the rest of my carb intake will be fruit.
Okay. So not fully, but have you ever heard of the omnivore diet? Not the omnivore, excuse me, carnivore diet.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, but I really like fruit. So I was like, I can't do it fully.
Well, again, you've already proven that you're the exception. So you the exception to vegans and vegetarians. Don't anybody that can say that but you. So you've proven you're the exception. I remember a long time ago, and they was talking about diets, right? They were saying it was just a nutritionist, and she was like, say for instance, you know, you're a vegan and you want to be vegan, but you just can't give up shrimp. Then keep eating shrimp. And then of course it was a one person, but shrimp is the dirtiest animal. I'm like, look, just you missing the message. Shut up. The point is, if it's something that you just can't let go of, then cool. Then keep that in your diet. But
also, the alternative perspective of that is this is a good time to bring discipline back into the conversation.
Right.
Whereas not only will dieting benefit your body, but it'll also benefit your mind by making the conscious decision to control what goes in your mouth. Mm-hmm. And I say that's the foundation of self-creation is there's no better way to say this. And I'm sorry, that's what she said, but it's what goes in and out of your mouth. It's your word choice and what you choose to consume. That includes drugs, alcohol, whatever. Is if you can decide that, like, I used to be a big on candy and sweets, sugar, donuts, I don't do that anymore. And there was a training process involved where I had to look at it, be like, no, I can't do that. I'm going to choose not to do that. That makes you stronger, which can tie into, I guess we're going to get into fasting in a little bit, but the discipline of choosing your diet, it's not just about slimming down. It's not even just about your health. It's about control over your mind. Because to look at something that you know will be delicious and make your mouth feel amazing for like 5 seconds, which is really all that sweets do. The strength to be able to say, no, I'm not going to do that is paramount and will bleed over into other areas of life. Because feeding a hedonistic lifestyle, it doesn't end up in many good places. It ends with addiction and maxing out credit cards and a lot of bad stuff.
It does, and that's a great segue, because you talked about how we think it's just if you don't have control over your diet, you don't have control over nothing else. And I'm big on that, because and I'm sure somebody does, but in reality, you mean to tell me you can't control what you eat, but you can control your spending. You can control having sex with everybody. Or you control your alcohol intake. You can't control everything. So if you don't have the eating down, you can't really control anything. So that's a great segue into the next part. So, which is, what about fasting? So my question to you before I go into my personal experiences with that, do you fast, and have you seen any good results from it? Negatives? Do you do it often? Do you not do it at all?
Yeah, I started fasting recently.
Good. Okay.
I think I did the 3rd or 4th one last week. I did about 30 to 40 hours. I did well over a full day. I did one night to the afternoon of like 2 days later or something. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was well over 24 hours, less than 48.
Anything you noticed?
Yeah. So the first time I fasted, awful, hated it. Second time I fasted, awful. I think this was the third time only. This time I was like, okay, I'm not happy right now, but I can get through it. And I really didn't do shit that day. I combined the fast day with my rest day just to get them both out of the way. And I was just like, fucking discipline. This sucks, but I'm just going to get through it. And I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, but I also the first two times I fasted, I came back with like a chicken and waffles with blueberry syrup and whipped cream and stuff all over. It was amazing. But I don't think that's how you should end a fast. I think you should end a fast with like fruit and eggs and like good stuff. So I did that this time, and it shrinks your stomach, so you're not as hungry for snacks and stuff. Snacking's a big one. Snacking, I love snacking. I would like to. That's one of the reasons I love doing martial arts too, because I burn so many calories that it allows me to kind of eat whatever I want. And I still don't eat whatever I want, but I allow snacking for more than I would have if I wasn't burning that extra like 1,000 calories a day.
So with fasting, and now I'm not gonna lie, I gotta get more disciplined with that. The part of when you said about after the fast you eat something terrible, I got that bad. But I have been fasting for a few years now, and I've seen a lot of different benefits from it. So we're gonna get into that. But first, for those that don't know, there are different types of fasting. We'll get into more of them as we go along. But the first few, dry fast, which is literally nothing, not even water. The second one is periods of time. So that's like the most common I know I do is like 6 to 6 or 6 to 3. And I actually been doing the first 3 days of the month this year, except 1 month. I've been doing Tiffany Montgomery has a raw fast that she does, and I do that. When I tell you the benefits of it, I've actually at this point in my life, and I like to eat. Let me throw it. Anybody knows me know I like to eat, but at this point in my life, I would like to get to the point where I have one raw week, like a legit week where I'm just raw fruits and raw vegetables, because the health benefits, that I noticed in just those 3 days was insane. So I'm like, what would it be like for a week?
That's another point I wanted to make.
Go ahead.
Chimps don't eat vegetables. And that's pretty common with all mammals. Most mammals don't eat that many vegetables. Like dogs can't even have like garlic or shallots or onions or a lot of things that I think someone, I didn't research this claim, but someone told me that the reason why a lot of vegetables are not as healthy is because it requires that you kill the entire plant to eat it. Whereas like fruit, you can just pick it off and then more will grow. Whereas like an onion, that's it, onion, your life's over. And it like releases carcinogens is what they told me. I didn't research that, but it does make sense that you're not supposed to eat something that you have to kill the whole thing of, because it can't make more of itself. I don't know. That's just an interesting thought. Sorry to interrupt you.
And I've heard something to that extent before. But what was I about to say? I remember I was at a kickback once. It was at an Airbnb. And we were outside in the back, kicking back. And I looked over at the tree and we was like, is that a lemon tree? And I was like, it's a lemon tree. So I remember me and my homegirl, we like took like 3 lemons and took them home. Almost some good lemons. I don't know who those people were, but I mean, it's just funny that you said you can literally just pick it and like take it home. No, for real, that's what I did. And it was big and they were full of flavor. And I'm like, I don't know what they did with them lemons, but they did what they were supposed to. All right.
I think fruit is the most godlike creation. I really do. Like it's a work of art. It's physically, aesthetically beautiful. It's geometric, patterned. It tastes delicious and it can feed you. Like I don't think there's anything cooler than fruit in this world.
So it's funny that you say godlike, because Some notes I got. So it was in Daniel 1. It said Daniel and his friends refused to eat the king's food, choosing to maintain their dietary laws in order to honor God. They exhibited strong self-discipline, sticking to their principles despite being in a foreign land. So my question to you is, with that, we talked about in a situation where I know I've been, watch this, when I've been, so I'm an educator. It's summertime now, but I'm an educator. And you know how many times you want to be disciplined and you're at work and this is magically the day where they got pizza and wings and oh, come down and get some. And it's the day I'm fasting. You know how hard it is for me to be like, bro, now I'm like, let me just go upstairs and read some stuff. And then I'll be like, oh, I'm eating this word right now. So I'm not going to worry about that. Have you ever been in a situation where it's like, bro, the day I'm fasting or the day I started a new diet, here comes the temptation. Here comes everybody with everything I love. Have you been in a situation like that before?
Yeah, totally. That's the last 2 times. I had a friend that was like cooking a whole bunch of food at their house, and I was like, this never happens. And it was just on this day.
I was so irritated, but fast can be a lot on a person's mental health for sure. So now, in a good way, as I talked about earlier with enhancing your brain with sleep, well, we kind of spoke on that earlier. Fasting actually enhance cognitive function. Some research suggests that intermittent fasting might enhance cognitive function and protects against any neurodegenerative diseases. This is thought to occur through processes such as increased cellular stress resistance, which I've heard that before, enhanced neuroplasticity, and reduced inflammation. I do know for a fact fasting reduces inflammation. That I know for a fact. Which actually, for those that don't know, is not just bloating, that's also sicknesses and things in the body. Yeah, so then risk of eating disorders. This is a negative that does come with fasting. In some cases, fast can trigger the person disordered eating patterns, particularly individuals who have a history or are predisposed to eating disorders. And this can lead to negative impacts on mental health. So that's something. There's always, a duality to a lot of things. It's always pluses and negatives. But honestly, y'all, if you really learn how to do it, the first few times it's going to be hard. And even once you become an expert faster, there are going to be days where you're like, bro, F this. I can't do this today. But you have to keep faith, keep your mind strong, and know that you'll be happy that you were successful with that.
Yeah, the gratitude is my favorite part. The gratitude meal at the end when I break the fast, and I'm just like, oh, food is amazing. Usually I'll just overeat and then I'll upset my stomach, but it's a work in progress. I got to work on that. But I didn't mention this, but I pretty much intermittent fast every day. I don't eat my first meal till like 2 or 3 p.m. But I didn't really think of that as fasting.
Oh yeah, that definitely is, and that's what a lot of people who lose that because I keep up with. Before I had got back on this second weight loss journey, I don't believe in coincidences, and I felt like God was trying to like push me because I was seeing on, how you randomly see stuff on your explore page, and I kept seeing. I was never that big, but I see the people who lose like 100 pounds, 80 pounds. 45 pounds, and a lot of them, their stories were consistent. They either did OMAD or a lot of intermittent fasting. So like they didn't eat to 1 or 2 o'clock, and then they had like an 8-hour window, because there's different, types of intermittent fasting for those that don't know. Okay, so let's move on to my next segment, which is I challenge that. So in this segment, we kind of challenge everything that's been said thus far, just to give the both sides of the ball. Again, the duality thing.
I like that.
So
that's a good idea.
Golden cricker's unique idea, deriving protein from insects. You've kind of talked about where this came from, and just, now I gotta ask. This is the question. This is the $1 million question. How did you find out? What made you say of all insects? And what made you just say, did you maybe eat a cricket when you was like 3 and was like, it's not so bad, let me research it? Did you?
Pretty much, except I was 22 and it was a scorpion and I was in Thailand.
Okay. Were you on a set of Fear Factor or something? It's not like a TV show.
No, I was just hanging out in Thailand, just experiencing different perspectives of this planet.
I did see on a TV show recently that they were eating scorpion. So was the scorpion good?
It was good. Yeah, it was great. It tasted like, everyone says chicken, man, but it really did taste like fried chicken, but like more gooey in the middle. Like kind of like fried chicken if it was a little yolky inside.
Okay. So you ate the scorpion.
But also, crickets are the worst thing you could have in the audience if you're doing comedy. So I was like, let's kill them all and eat them. There's layers to this. There's layers here.
I'm about to end this recording right now. Now, but seriously, so how did you? So you did the scorpion. So, but how did that lead to the cricket?
I was serious.
Oh my god! So you said you had to kill them all.
I'm getting crickets right now, dude. This is.
I laugh. So you didn't get a cricket. I laugh. But the scorpion, he said it tastes like fried chicken that was gooey in the middle.
Okay, I will say, so there was a pre-existing infrastructure of cricket farming going on because of reptile and fish food. So we just kind of piggybacked on that, on the pre-existing infrastructure.
Okay, and see, I didn't have no clue of that. So that's good that you even thought of that. And it again just goes to show you how one little thing can trigger something else. So how that scorpion triggered you to this business that you've only been doing for a little over a year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm saying? It's going up. And I definitely, when it comes to food, I'll probably try anything at least once, maybe not anything. I won't eat chitlins, but I'll eat anything else. So I would literally eat the protein. You might got a word you can add to your thing, but I might eat the protein, the cricket protein. I might try that soon and see what it's hitting for. But if I do it, I'm telling you, I'm gonna get on Instagram and I'm gonna give a live reaction. But it'd probably be good because you say it tastes better than the plant ones, and I do the plant ones. So
yeah, they come in this shiny gold bar. It's peanut butter chocolate banana.
Okay, golden ticket.
And exactly.
That's the
and we have like the amount of people the percentage of people that say it's delicious is like upwards of 98%.
I believe it because sometimes those unique things you wouldn't think would be good would probably be good.
I got good taste, man. I got good taste in music. I got good taste in flavors, and I'm just here trying to spread
it. Okay, so now with a fast, the challenge in the parts about a fast, it says going on a fast and still doing what you shouldn't be doing or what you wanted to do is not beneficial. So there's something he said in which I got to get better at is after a fast eating a bunch of junk. If you're trying to really, I feel like clogging up your spiritual ears with like a bunch of CNN or stuff that doesn't feed your soul. Like, don't get it twisted. We all watch stuff we shouldn't supposed to sometimes, but when you're on the fast, I think it kind of defeats the purpose, which I'm getting better if you're watching just blatant toxic stuff. And I ain't gonna lie, I have a habit of doing it sometimes. And what y'all fail to realize is you think it's just those toxic conversations on social media. Stop watching the news. Really, you need to stop watching the news altogether. But definitely stop watching it if you're on a fast. You'll be, I don't know what kind of stuff you'd be came up with.
I think you should cut out all forms of entertainment that involve anyone that you don't know.
Oh,
that's a big claim, and I'm sticking by it.
I'm gonna try that. I really am. Next time I'm going to fast, I'm gonna do that because
except music. You can listen to except for music. You can listen to strangers' music. That's too good to stop listening to.
We're gonna listen to your music. We're gonna put your song at the bottom. We say y'all click the link while you fast and listen to this song. So I remember something happened to my podcast one time, and it had got deleted. It was something crazy. It got deleted off this podcast app. I remember I said, oh, no, I'm not playing with that. I instantly dropped everything I was doing. I stopped eating for the rest of the day. I'm like, God, we need to fix this. What's going on? It literally came back up the next morning. They was like, oh, it was an oversight. Yeah, it better be. What you mean? How you just delete a podcast off the entire network like they say it was an accident and think I'm supposed to be cool about it? Y'all lost your mind. But it's something to keep in mind. There's powers behind fasting that, like I said earlier, spiritual, emotional, and physical. All right. Now, let's move into the next section. This is called the weekly sabbatical. In this time, we reflect. We think about things that have happened, and just kind of reminisce on some things. So now we're doing my research on you. You talk a lot, you do a lot of podcasts. What has been your favorite podcast interview and why?
Probably this one, man. You're awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. I was really thinking you was gonna say one of you do a lot. So
yeah, but they keep getting better. And
good, that's good.
The last I've been podcasting, I've been doing comedy podcasts for the last like 6 years, but it's not until really a couple months ago where I was like, I'm going to take a more positive approach to life and try to spread positivity and sobriety and exercise and health and stuff. So I like this new journey I'm on.
That's good. So what makes a podcast, whether you listen to it on your own time or be a part of, but what makes a podcast stand out to you?
All right, I'm gonna be super honest and don't take any of this personally. I'm only being honest because you're being great and you've been a great host. But not interrupting, stopping talking when it's the guest's turn to talk, making it about the guest. When I'm hosting, I do the same thing. I set the stage, but when you have the guest, it should be about the guest. And you've been great about all this, by the way. So this is not a criticism to you at all. It's a criticism to anyone else who's listening to this who wants to do a podcast. And I've been on other podcasts where they're not so great. They haven't let me talk as much. Maybe they're just new to it or something, but it doesn't. Also, not saying like or is important. That's like the first thing that you got to figure out.
My first few seasons, it was like every other word. But you're growing to it. They're growing to it. They're probably still new. I just said right now. Now,
it's hard not to because the silence is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because then if you're listening with headphones in and it's just like, you're like, hang on, did my shit just pause? Because if you got a flow going and you're like, hang on, I got to think about what I'm about to say. So I'm still working on that too. Sometimes I pause too long.
We've talked about your music. You have 2 rap albums.
3.
Excuse. Oh, wow. Wow. I'm messing up. You got 3 rap albums with over millions of views. So you saying the beats are fire. You said they're ridiculous, but they're funny. Would you call them spoofs or satires of like rap today? Or is it just like you really just was on some like funny stuff? Like legit, like I'm not trying to had no deeper message. Like, people create parodies. I'm just being funny.
I take different angles. There's some where I've specifically tried to be satirical of some of my favorite artists. And then there's other where I'm just like trying to put words together because they sound fun together. Like I'm a chocolate octopus with an Oculus in the apocalypse. Like it doesn't make any sense, but it's like.
It sounds like Tyler the Creator a little bit. So who is your top 3 favorite rappers?
Larry June.
Oh, he just had a concert in Houston and I missed it.
Sugar Free.
Okay.
Probably Big L.
Okay. Yeah, Larry June just had a concert and I'm so mad I missed it. I got a hand tatted. We're not trying to be like him, but just because I like that look, I got to add to it though. But okay, that's good.
Bro, so Larry June is the most motivational rapper ever. His lyrics are so good. And like, I feel like everyone who's trying to come up should be listening to him. If you like hip hop, like his message is so solid and so positive.
Absolutely. I got one of his shirts in my closet because one of my friends couldn't fit it. So they gave it to me. And I was just like, it's a blessing.
I got his album up here. You can't see it though.
So how does your music intersect with your work at all? Has it played a role in promoting your business, or do you plan on doing it in the future if it hasn't?
I made a Golden Cricket like jingle. I made a rap about my company. It's I got some hate on it on TikTok, but it was fun. It was fun to make.
If you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
I had a few people comment, I was gonna buy this product until I heard that jingle at the end, and I was like, oh,
they gonna buy it. They
weren't gonna buy it anyways.
So this is for those who you may feel like this is the helping with the decision portion. So this is for y'all, the people. And he's gonna, greenlit some of my research, whether he agrees or not, or have anything he wants to add to it. So you struggle with discipline in your diet. Here are some tips I found that would be extremely effective. So the first one is eat a balanced breakfast. Now, I'm indifferent about this one only because if I'm intermittent fasting or if it's a day where I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. But some days it's good to have an actual breakfast because the role of protein-rich meals in weight management, that's what it's from that article. And this article emphasized the importance of incorporating lean protein sources in every meal. And it gave some options. It says like chicken, turkey, fish, eggs, say tofu, I don't eat that, and lean cuts of meat to promote feelings of fullness and blood sugar regulation. So not even just fullness, it does something with your blood sugar as well. The second one, which is, I guess, an ode to you, the benefits of protein-rich snacks. A guide for healthy eating suggests adding protein-rich snacks between meals to prevent overeating and stabilize blood sugar levels. Examples include Greek yogurt, a hard-boiled egg, a handful of nuts, or a golden cricket protein bar. See how we did that? The third one, it says protein supplementation to enhance recovery and increase muscle mass. This research study details the benefits of adding protein powder to shakes or smoothies after workouts, aiding in muscle recovery and promoting safety. And again, y'all have a powder too, correct?
What'd you say? I was about to make you a promo code.
I said y'all have a powder too, correct?
Yeah, we have a horchata cricket protein powder for smoothies.
Okay, now I want to know because if I'm actually running out of my protein powder, like literally, it's like on his last leg. What does it taste like?
You know what horchata is?
Oh, okay, duh. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's good, man. Like people love the protein bars, but people love the powder even more. Which honestly, I prefer protein bars over making shakes. But
yeah,
the customers have the last word, and the customers love it.
Okay.
We've made more money off the powder. We've had more powder sales than bars since it dropped. It's just taken over.
Oh, well, we like a takeover. You didn't got the summer. You got the summer is yours. Now let's move into fasting. So the different types of fasting that you can should try and do. Water fasting. This is a type that involves consuming only water for a set period of time, usually 24 to 72 hours. It believed to support weight loss and cellular cleanup. However, longer water fasts should be monitored closely, and they could lead to nutrient deficiencies and other health risks if not managed correctly. This other fast involves only consuming vegetables and fruit juice for a certain period of time. A juice fast, I've done that before, and it's promoted as a detoxification strategy, a weight loss, or a way to start a healthy eating pattern, which it does. When you do, when I was juicing, I was raw and I was juicing at the same time, and I've done just juicing before too. You got to watch what juices you do, because if you go buy a bunch of sugary juices, it defeats the purpose. So you either need to make the juices at home or go to somewhere and get them. And I did notice I was my cravings were like for more, healthier things. And I didn't. And I will find myself saying, because typically around the same time of week, I would want like a cookie. I love cookies, right? And I'll be like, I don't have to eat a cookie today. And I noticed, like, I was like, I don't have to go get one versus, some people like they have their fix. Stop letting food run you. I don't know who needed to hear that. The next fasting method, cycles of periods between eating and fasting have gained popularity in recent times. According to a study published in Annual Review of Nutrition, intermittent fast can help with weight loss and improve metabolic health. And this is from effects of intermittent fasting. And then the last one, it says many millennials are socially conscious and value-driven, fasting for a cause. This is fasting for a cause, such as environmental sustainability, or to raise awareness for social issues can be a meaningful practice. So when you're fasting for a reason, I mentioned earlier with the situation where I started fasting because that stuff happened to my podcast. I'm telling you, you see pretty. I've got biblical examples if y'all want them of people fasting and getting to what they were asking for. And you have to make sure you're doing it with a clean mind, though. And that's why I said the importance of him, which I love when he said, which I'm holding myself accountable on camera, of taking a break from entertainment related stuff when I'm fasting, because I can still indulge in toxicity in my brain. Just because it's gone from the body, but you put it in your brain is like a battle almost. And so I want it to be where it's complete on both ends. So let me ask you this before we move into the last final segment. For those who are interested in losing weight or gaining weight in a healthy way, how can they effectively incorporate cricket protein into their diets? Do you have any recommended recipes or diet plans? I'm going to give one, and I say this because I did it. I do know there is a way to make like pancakes and waffles with protein powder. So, and I've done it before.
That's what I was going to say. Someone just did that with our product the other day, and they said it was delicious.
Yeah, I did that with the one I got. I got like a banana flavor one, and that one was good. Any other suggestions you might have for that? Any recipes?
You can mix it into yogurt too. My favorite, if I'm really gonna go get down on some sweets, I'm gonna do yogurt, granola, and a bunch of fruit, and cinnamon, and peanut butter. And if you mix the protein in with the yogurt, you can get a pretty good consistency. And then you got protein yogurt. Because the Greek yogurt is not too good. I don't like it. It's very healthy for you, but it doesn't taste good. I want to get that sweet fix.
Right. No, I feel you, because when I like eating sweets, it's like I'm gonna need something that's gonna hit it. And I found a lot of low carb stuff that does it, and the little treats and snacks. And I like to experiment with what eating stuff. So that's why I definitely want to try it at some point. I'm just waiting on some money to hit. All right. Let's move into the final segment for today. It's been a great conversation. I knew it was going to be, because when he said stand-up comedian, I'm like, okay, you know how to talk, so we good. So let's move into the final segment, and this is called Game Time. All right, now this game is called Disciplinarian. I'm going to give you several scenarios, and I want you to tell me whether or not this person has discipline or not so much. You ready? All right. This one's pretty easy. The first one says, when the person goes to work and they're on a fast, they've been doing good for 3 days. Today is the last day. However, their boss decides to buy them lunch and comes back with barbecue from their favorite restaurant. They decide to eat it. Were they disciplined or were they not?
You said it's been 3 days?
Yeah. And this day was, so say for instance, that the fast was from 6 to 6. They did the first 3 days, was 4 days, and they did the first 3 days, and they get to day 4, and it's like noon, it's time for lunch. They're a few hours shy of 6 o'clock completing the fast, and the boss decides to buy the whole work office lunch, and from your favorite place.
Man, barbecue. That question is angled for me to say that they're not disciplined, but I think they should have the barbecue.
All right.
Just the meat, though. Just the meat.
Okay. A person goes, and every time they get paid, they decide to buy clothes and shoes that they don't need.
So not disciplined. You should never be spending money on clothes unless you have so much money that you don't know what to do with it. Like, man, up until I bought a house, I had maybe 1 or 2 pairs of shoes and like 1 pair of pants. And I was just saving that all up, and I bought a house with it.
Look, y'all, so don't go shopping, go shop for a house. That's what he's telling you. All right. Cannot control. This person decides to date. However, they make it conscious that they're not having sex on a regular because they're trying to keep their testosterone in order.
Super disciplined.
All right. This person decides that they love to shop. However, they only do it in certain increments and after certain months of the year.
More disciplined than the other guy.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last one. This person spends all their money on golden cricket products.
All their money? I don't want all your money. Just like some of it.
All right, good stuff. Well, before I go to the last question for the audience, I'm gonna ask you, just say one more thing today. So you mentioned you have a ton more products to roll out in the future. Can you give us a sneak peek into what we can expect from Golden Cricket down the line and how it aligns with your vision of health and sustainability?
We're going to be doing more flavors of protein bars, more flavors of powder, and the possibilities are really endless. Like we could do It's cricket powder, you know, it's powderized. So you can put that in anything. And is now time to plug my website, or is that it? All right. So yeah, you go to goldencricket.com and use promo code unbig for 15% off, lowercase. I just made that for you right now. If you want something done, do it immediately. That's another gem I got for you.
You said do it immediately?
Yeah.
Okay. Bet. Okay. All right. Now let's move into this. And this is for the audience. It's not for you. So for the audience, after this episode, question or challenge for the week. Do you plan to start fasting this summer? If so, how? All right. We weeks in the summer, y'all. Just because we in this smack dab in the middle, don't mean you just say, oh, I'll wait till next summer. See, that's y'all problem. You think you waited too late, so you be like, oh no, I'm gonna just wait. No, stop waiting. Do it now. It's been a great conversation. Anything else you want to add or say before you go today?
Follow me on Instagram at Cricket Lord MMA, and my company Instagram is at Golden Cricket Inc.
All right. So that's good stuff. Okay, y'all. So that's all we got for today. This is episode 12. I will see y'all next week for 13. And then after 13, we move into the podcast series of the of season, what season? 7, which is called Industry Plan. And I'll give you more in-depth about that next week. All right, PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you.